The Great Fromage Escape. In the world of European transport, every driver has a nightmare load. For some, it's oversized glass. For others, it's live bees. For a driver named Bruno, it was 600 kilograms of high-grade, unpasteurized Epoisses cheese. Now, Epoisses is a delicacy. It is creamy, expensive, and famous for being so pungent that it is legally banned from being carried on French public transport. Bruno didn't know this when he accepted the priority gourmet contract from a small village in Burgundy. He was driving a refrigerated Sprinter. The cooling unit was set to a crisp 4 degrees, and the back was sealed tight. But as he hit the highway toward Brussels, Bruno realized that a cooling unit can stop the heat, but it cannot stop the soul of a French cheese that wants to be free. By the time Bruno reached the border of Luxembourg, the smell had bypassed the steel bulkhead and was beginning to colonize the cab. It wasn't just a smell, it was an atmosphere. It tasted like an old gym sock that had been dipped in garlic and left in the sun since the French Revolution. Bruno cracked the window. Big mistake. The vacuum of the moving truck pulled the concentrated essence of the cheese directly into his face. His eyes began to water. His GPS started to look blurry. He tried to spray air freshener, mountain pine, but the cheese didn't just ignore the pine. It ate it. Now, the cab smelled like a sweaty hiker lost in a forest of rotting trees. He pulled into a rest stop, desperate for air. As he opened his door, a group of tourists 3 parking spots away stopped their conversation. They looked around, confused, checking the soles of their shoes. Bruno didn't look at them. He just stared straight ahead, a prisoner in a van made of brie and despair. The real trouble started outside of Namur, a routine police check. The officer, a young man with a very clean uniform and a very sensitive nose, waved Bruno over. As the officer walked toward the driver's window, his pace slowed. He began to frown. 10 feet away, he stopped. He pulled his collar over his nose. "Monsieur," the officer shouted from a safe distance, "are you carrying a body, or perhaps a dead zoo animal?" Bruno leaned out the window, his hair messy, his face pale. "It's cheese, officer. It's just very, very happy cheese." The officer refused to go near the back doors. He didn't even want to check Bruno's papers. He just pointed toward the horizon with a shaking hand and told Bruno that if he didn't leave Belgian territory within the hour, he would be charged with environmental terrorism. Bruno didn't argue. He shifted into gear and fled. The trail sent behind him so thick that birds were reportedly falling out of the trees. Disaster struck 10 kilometers from the delivery point. A small clunk sounded from the roof. The cooling unit had given up. It had been defeated by the sheer chemical power of the cargo. Within minutes, the temperature in the back began to rise. Epoisses cheese is famous for its runny consistency. In the heat, it becomes a liquid. Bruno could hear it, a soft, squelching sound against the doors. He realized that if he opened the back doors, a tidal wave of gourmet orange goo would swallow the street. He had to deliver the load, but he also had to survive the delivery. He put on his rain jacket. He put on his winter gloves. He took a deep breath, tied a t-shirt around his face like a bandit, and prepared for the final approach. He looked like he was about to rob a bank, but in reality, he was just a man trying to survive a dairy product. The customer was a high-end restaurant owner named Pierre. Pierre was standing on the sidewalk, waiting for his precious cargo. When Bruno arrived, looking like a biohazard worker and smelling like the end of days, Pierre smiled. Bruno opened the back doors. A cloud of visible steam, or perhaps it was just a smell made manifest, escaped into the afternoon air. A nearby cafe emptied in 3 seconds. But Pierre stepped forward and took a deep breath. Pierre whispered, his eyes closing in ecstasy. It is perfect. It is aggressive. I will have it all. Bruno handed over the keys, walked to the nearest train station, and bought a completely new set of clothes. He left his sprinter there. He left his jacket there. He even left his shoes. Some say that if you drive past that restaurant in Brussels on a warm summer night, you can still hear the ghost of the cheese calling out to the road. Bruno, meanwhile, now only accepts contracts for bottled water. It doesn't pay as well, but at least, the police don't think he's a walking crime scene.